Would it be y'all once again? Rezin 47 back in effect for another review, and this time I'm switching it up a little bit. I'm turning the tables for this video. Y'all know me for my album reviews and on my music related content. For the first time ever on this channel, I'm going to be doing a movie review, and the movie I'll be reviewing is a horror film that has been getting a lot of people talking lately, like in the horror scene and just in the movie scene in general. A lot of people loving it. A lot of people are hating it. But the thing is, this is pretty refreshing to see right now as far as modern movies. And I'm talking about an indie horror film called Skinamarink. Now, Skinamarink is directed by Kyle Edward Ball, who's also a YouTuber who has his own channel. And he does like short horror films based on like other people's nightmares of the viewers that watch his channel. And this is his first time making it to the big screen with his first feature film. And I'm just gonna get right into how I discovered Skinamarink. Like a few nights ago at work, I was going through my YouTube recommended, and I came across a video called "The Horror That Theaters Aren't Ready For" by YouTuber Dude of All Trades. And the clips that we were showing of the film reeled me in, so I looked up the trailer, and after the fact, that trailer hooked me. Like all the shots of the doors and the hallways with that creepy ass voice repeating the "in this house, in this house." Oh fuck. I was like, okay, this shit is scary. So I quickly fucking rented it on YouTube, and well shit. We'll get into it. So I'll give y'all some basic info on this movie. It was first released July 25th, 2022 in Canada, and was released in the US February 3rd, 2023. And like I said, it was directed by Kyle Edward Ball, and its distribution is from Shudder, horror streaming service, IFC Films, and ERO Picture Company. So, Skinamarink, very first movie review. Let's fucking go. So, Skinamarink takes place in 1995, and it starts out with two kids named Kevin and Kaylee playing with Legos before bedtime. And now Kevin is played by Lucas Paul. Kaylee is played by Dally Rose Tetrell. I think that's how you say it. And their mother is played by James Hill. And their father is played by Ross Paul, who might be the actual real life father of Lucas. So once they go to bed, Kevin wakes up in the middle of the night and like starts playing hide and seek with no one. And then he accidentally like falls down the stairs and hits his head. So he's crying, and the family hears him. They take him to the hospital, and once they come back, his father's on the phone talking about how Kevin was sleepwalking, which is actually a common sleep disorder with children. So I liked how they went with that. And one thing to know about this movie, you never see any of the cast faces. You don't see anyone. The cinematography here is done from the kids' point of views, which is perfect. So there's a lot of angles like looking up or looking down. And that right there is a perfect use of liminal spaces. I've been in love with like the liminal space phenomenon that's been going on like the internet and shit. I mean, it's something that you gotta be in my age demographic to like really feel. And I might do a video on that shit like sometime in the future. So salute to Jamie McCrae for his or her cinematography on that. And Kyle Edward Ball has cited influences of like Stanley Kubrick and David Lynch for this film. And those directors have used a lot of liminal spaces as well. So back to the actual story of the film. So his father's talking on the phone, and like either that night or the next night is when things start getting a little odd. So Kaylee is like trying to find her father, like snooping around the house, and two doors in the house just disappear. And it's a simple scene, but it's one of my favorite moments in the film because like the angles are shot at, the doors look big as fuck, and I just love those camera angles. So Kaylee's seeing this, and she tries calling 911 about like 4 times in a row, but the lines are like busy. So to feel safe, Kevin and Kaylee like set up a bed fort in the downstairs living room and turn the TV on. And there's a moment where the brother and sister remind each other like how they love each other and shit. And I gotta say that's like the only uplifting moment in this movie. This shit is dark from start to end. So the kids are watching like these 1920s like cartoon flicks, which were used those because they're in the public domain, which means they have no copyright on them. And but you know, this is like a small budget film, but I think that adds to the eeriness of this movie, using that those really like old cartoons from 100 years ago. So one of the kids like tries turning one of the lights on, but they're like suddenly not working. The lights are out. Then you hear Kaylee ask like, "Why is mom crying?" and "How come no one's come yet?" So she's starting to feel even more unsettled with like all these weird things that are happening in the house, and they fall asleep somehow for a minute, and then like another part of the house disappears, which I think Kevin brings attention to, and it's the toilet disappearing, which I think that had to be for comedic relief because I don't know, just you choosing that to also disappear, that had to be like a little bit of humor. So so Kevin and Kaylee like things are getting even weirder, so they start snooping around the house with flashlights trying to figure out what's going on. And I think jump scares are played out. The played the fuck out by now. But the scene where Kevin like startles Kaylee searching around, she screams, drops a flashlight. That actually got me like each time I watch the movie. Like it's a jump scare that actually catches you off guard. So that was a great use of that whole thing. And since the toilet disappeared, like I said, the kids they set up buckets in the bathroom. Then they go back downstairs and do their thing. So they're chilling, and then this voice like whispers, "Kaylee, come upstairs," and that goes into one of the most infamous scenes in the movie. Kaylee goes to her parents' room, and her father's sitting on one side of the bed, and her mother's sitting on the other side of the bed. The father tells her to look under the bed. She goes, looks under there, and nothing happens. There's nothing there. That's like fucking with the viewer to think there's gonna be a jump scare, but there wasn't. And then she looks back again, and again nothing happens. That was a pretty cool moment. But when she comes back under the bed the second time, her father disappears. And then the camera pans over to the backside of her mother, which that scene is what I'm using for my picture right now. And she says something like, "We love you and Kevin very much." And then the next part is like one of the best moments in the movie, one of the most talked about moments. The mom whispers, "I need you to close your eyes." Kaylee closes her eyes, and when she opens them, her mother also disappears. And then like a few seconds pass into the next scene, and then Kaylee says like, "There's someone here," and then her mother repeats that like immediately. Then she tells Kaylee to like go back downstairs and sleep and shit. And like the scene is focused on like a doorway that's going into like a complete abyss. I'm thinking it's like a closet or something. Then you hear like bones cracking, and then you hear a painful moan. And then they do like another jump scare with like a jet, like a hand jetting out of the dark. And that was pretty cool. Although I think it was a little too soon to do another jump scare like that. But yeah, that was kind of dope. So they go back downstairs. Well, Kaylee goes back downstairs, and her and Kevin like move the couch to block the hallway or a staircase, whatever it is, to like make sure this entity or something isn't gonna get in and get them. And they tried turning the lights on again, and they still aren't working. And now this scene coming up, I fucking love. I mean, it's a simple one, but it's at like the 50-minute, 10-second mark where the audio TV just cuts off and the camera angle is just staring up like at the walls going to the ceiling, and you just see like the TV flickering in utter silence. Dark as fuck, unsettling as fuck. I love that. So man, yeah, one of my favorite scenes in that fucking movie. And then the audio comes back on, Kevin goes to like take a piss and get his shit ready to go find Kaylee because she disappeared as well. And then like the Legos, while he's gone, the Legos start like moving around and sticking to the wall. And then this scene, like just like they're showing the Legos on the wall with the cartoon song playing in the background. Very unnerving. That was like, oh, that was tense. So then you hear this disembodied voice telling Kevin to come to the basement. And what lies there is like the most infamous scene in the film, like number one. She's like Haley starts like whimpering and calling for Kevin to like protect her. And then you see like her body just laid out on the floor. Alright, right there. And then followed by a jump scare of Kitty's face with no eyes or no mouth. And that is one of the best jump scare moments I have seen because it's actually important to the story. And like that distorted version of Kitty looked really good. Like it didn't look like some fucking retarded CGI shit. Like that was pretty good. And like Kitty runs back downstairs scared as fuck. And then this entity's voice like tells Kevin to go to sleep. And then after this, kind of in the same vein as like that 50-minute 10-second scene, this is one of my top 3 favorite moments in the Skinamarink film. Because it's like the same thing, but it's like even darker. It's at the 61-minute 40-second mark. It goes back to that camera angle with like when the TV shut off. And looking up at the walls again. And the TV itself just completely turns off. And like you just see like the flickering of the light go from a light blue to a dark blue. That was even darker. And then there's like a moment of silence with that. Then the TV comes back on, and then you see like an old Merry Melodies cartoon called Presto Changeos like on the TV. It starts playing, and then like just like freezes for about like a full minute, just static going across the entire screen, just completely frozen. Then it starts playing again, but the TV is just looping the same like 5-second scenes over and over again. That boom, 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 and plays over and over and over again like 10 fucking times. And then it shuts off again. And then it goes back to that camera angle I mentioned like 2 times before when the TV went off the last time. And Kevin's nowhere in sight at all throughout all this. So the viewer is the one experiencing this horror. I fucking love it. It immerses you in the fucking movie. Dark, so dark. And then Kevin does come back. He plays with his Legos again. And then the entity, like whatever it is, whispers out to him, "I want to play." And he ignores it, and like the TV does its thing. And then at the 67-minute 53-second mark, just like it's the camera angle's not on the TV, but you just hear the audio of that 5-second clip playing over and over again. And again, the TV shuts off. Like this happens every time like this thing plays. Then like the kitchen drawer flies open, and then you just hear this entity say to Kevin, "Put the knife in your eye." And little Kevin does as he's told, and you don't actually see it happen. Like it's like a split second. You see the backside of him, and then it cuts away to like again that fucking wall angle that's like played like 3 times by now, and you just hear Kevin screaming in pain, and then it just cuts off from there. So fucking unnerving. That actually made me cringe when I saw that. The fucking screams just sounded so real. And then the TV shuts off again, and now the house is completely dark. No source of light anywhere. And it's, oh my god. Then it just starts like cutting to like different angles of the house. And then one of them you see like the forehead of like a female figure who then comes down to like the TV that's like off and just starts sitting in front of it, just staring at it. And it's just the backside of her head. And then she quickly disappears. And then Kevin goes to try to find the phone and calls 911 to get help after he stabbed himself. But like as he's like trying to like give him the details of what happened, he's cut off like somehow like right before they can send people out to help him. So he tries to find the phone again, searching around with the flashlight, and when he finds it, the telephone has turned into a toy Fisher Price phone with like eyes and a mouth. And it looks pretty creepy, like in the darkness like that, with just a flashlight on it. Ugh. And then the static noise of the film that's like being used as like a background effect, that itself starts getting like louder and louder and louder. And the camera's like panning around the house, like different shots of the living room and all of that. And there's like a lot of amazing liminal spaces in that again. Like I said, screen cap anything for that moment, you'll get something pretty good. And for a quick moment, you actually do get to see like the backside of Kevin and like a bit of his face. And then the entity starts like talking to him again, like explaining why he's here. Like, Kitty didn't do as she was told. She said she wanted her mom and dad, so I took her mouth away. Kevin, come upstairs. And then he goes upstairs, and then like this demon tells him that I will protect you. And that's connected to one of my other favorite scenes in Skinamarink. And this is where the fucking film goes into like complete abstraction. When the house turns completely upside down. The ceiling is now the floor, and the floor is now the ceiling. So fucking cool. Oh my god, like that made it even darker, and that was like such a fucking cool effect. That's I'm gonna do a top 5 favorite scenes list, but that's probably towards the top of them. God damn, that was good. So now Kevin Kevin wants to go back downstairs again, but that shit ain't happening because the house has been flipped. So he turns his flashlight on in the dark again, and he shines this light on a pile of all of his toys in a dollhouse, laid out in like this endless hallway, with a text on the screen that reads 572 days. That was like another suspenseful scene. And then like this cartoon singing comes back and just starts getting louder and louder as the hallway pans out further and further, which was another scene that I really loved. That was just like the way they synced the hallways panning out with the volume getting louder was perfect. Then it just cuts off again and goes to a shot of this woman just sitting in the corner, and she disappears like fast as she appears. And take what you want from that. I don't think that was like the mother or anything. But let me get a hit of water real quick. So another one of my favorite scenes in the movie comes up next. But it's like a simple one. Kev's like staring down at the downstairs TV, which is upside down. And it cuts to static again, and then it shuts off. Like that, like the upside down, like far away angle was so creepy. That like what a moment that was. And then this is like, if not the close your eyes scene, I would say this is the most notorious scene in the film, where it cuts to the darkness and you just see like these two small eyes peering out of it. The flashlight comes on again, and it's the Fisher Price toy phone again. And then it just makes this loud ringing noise, like, and it's so loud and creepy. It sounds like it's from fucking hell. Like every time I watch that, it fucking gets me because of just how loud and creepy it is. I would say it's the best jump scare in the fucking movie. It's getting people talking. But the next two scenes, which are like the final wrap up of the film, fucking really scary. They're like morbid shit. They shot like I forgot to mention at the start, but like in the start of the film, there's like different shots of the house like panning around to like where pictures are set up of the families and like memories of the families and shit. That was in the start of the film. And in this scene it comes back around, but now everything is distorted, like faces are gone, like facial features are gone, heads are missing, and a bunch of like all that crazy shit. And oh man, that was creepy. And then it switches to a shot of like a corner shot of the carpet, still upside down. And this was fucking disturbing. And it was done with great detail. Kevin starts like whimpering and shit. And then he screams as like blood flies up to the carpet, like down, like flies up, like Like the physics are backwards now. And then you hear that boom 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 that you hear that, then the blood flies back down and we're like time's going backwards now. And then the blood flies up to the carpet again. That Mary Melly shit plays again. Time goes backwards, and then you just see the blood flying up, going back down, and that shit just keeps repeating over and over and over again. So Kevin's like stuck in a time loop, like killing himself over and over again, like 4 fucking times. Dark as fuck. Like, ugh, and the screams he pulls off. Daniel Profeta, another YouTuber, he pointed this out in his like review. The screams are different. Like the bloodstain is the same each time, but the screams are different. So he knows like he's stuck in time and he's being forced to do this. Disturbing as fuck. Like that made me cringe more. And I don't give a fuck how tough you are. That will make you feel something. So that's like the end of the story in the movie. And then in the last actual scene, it cuts to Kevin staring at like the TV like flickering and just says like, "Can we watch something happy?" And then the last scene you see is like this entity's blurred face that just whispers, "Go to sleep." And then you just get the end screen. And that's Skinamarink right there. What a fucking journey that was. So my wrap up. In a nutshell, this is a very polarizing horror flick right now, but personally, I really loved Skinamarink. For an indie movie on a $15,000 budget, this was really impressive and really refreshing to watch. No retarded CGI, no overused jump scares, no over-the-top action-packed fucking stupidity, and no happy ending. Like, Kyle Edward Ball made this film the old-fashioned way, like the way it should be done. And this piece of cinema's getting totally crucified by horror heads. Nothing happens, it's too slow, it's just a bunch of walls and corners. Well, I'm sorry, not sorry, but this ain't murder, kill like every time, you know. You're not gonna get Texas Chainsaw Massacre like every single time a movie comes out. Skinamarink is for a specific audience. If you ever been a kid like in the just by your lonely in the darkness of your house at the middle of the night, and you know what that fucking dreadful, anxious, scary feeling is like, this is for you. That's the ideal setting to watch this in, is just in the darkness of your house. This taps into like that childhood fear of like the child's imagination and how they could scare themselves like so easily in vulnerable situations. And it's a slow burn film. It's like 100 minutes. But like once it hits the hour mark is when it really starts getting crazy and things pick up. Skinamarink is a film that like really rewards patience. And that's like one of the things that people are split on this movie about. Some think it's too boring. Some think it drags on. It would be 1,000. I think that like about 20 minutes of this film could have been cut down. But I still enjoy like pretty much almost every moment. And like I said, you need to watch this in the darkness because the ambience of this film is suffocating. Like the only lighting you get in this film, like this period, is just from the TV, and there's no music at all, which was something that I love. I love horror films that don't have any music in them. The only background noise you get is from the static and the film static and the sound of the TV. That's it. Nothing else. I love all the camera angles too. The cinematography was sharp as fuck. Like a lot of dark luminous spaces around here. And like I said, I'm all about that. I loved it. Some would probably get turned off and bored by that, but I loved it personally. I thought it was a great like way to avoid using like angles that looking down at the actual characters, because again, the goal of this movie was to not show you what any of them look like. Like and there's a lot of different interpretations of what this movie is about. Like the stories, I've heard different theories of like what this movie means, or like what it's supposed to represent and shit like that. So I'll give my interpretation of this film. I think Skinamarink is being told from the viewpoint of a child that has been comatose. Because in the beginning of the film, Kevin falls down the stairs, and then like 5 minutes later, when they come back, is when the doors like start disappearing and all that. You know, the parents disappearing, Legos moving around, like that distorted perception of Kaylee. That I look at that as like Kevin's memory slipping away and like him becoming more unfamiliar with like what his life was. And on top of that, the 572 days shit, like that text, I think that makes it even more clear because that's like how long he's been out of it. But that's my interpretation. Like Skinamarink tells you nothing. There's no explanations about anything in the story. It's like the viewer is supposed to come up with their own idea, take what they want from this shit. Because I've seen like another theory that like the mother is the entity in the house that's haunting them. Like when she goes into the closet and you hear the bones cracking, that's like her turning into the demon. And then that hand that jets out, and all that. I can't argue with that either because like the parents' room and like with a woman watching TV when it's completely off. But I'm sticking with my coma theory because I think that makes the most sense to me. There's so many different takes on this film that I watched another review someone did of this and they called this film imaginative horror. Normally, like those kind of terms that YouTubers come up with are fucking stupid, but I think that slang is perfect because this story is like taking place in a kid's imagination, and the viewer has to imagine themselves what it's about. So fucking cool and very innovative. And that's my final thoughts on Skinamarink. My rating of this film is a 7.8 out of 10, which would translate to a 4 out of 5. And my top 5 favorite scenes in here. Let's go from 5 to 1. Number 5 would be like the parents' room scene. Look under the bed, close your eyes. That one. Number 4, the put the knife in your eye scene. Number 3, the house turning upside down. I love that. That was crazy. Number 2, the presto change-out loop, like the first time it happens. And then number 1, it's fucking morbid, but man, it really struck me. The ending where like the bloody carpet kill, stuck in time, Kevin killing himself over and over again. And if Skinamarink comes out on Blu-ray or DVD, which I'm hoping it does, I might pick it up. And I love the cover of it with just the blue in it, Kevin just staring down the hallway, like upside down. That'll look so dope on like my DVD shelf. And if you have not seen this film, definitely check it out. It's not for everyone, but go into it open-mindedly. You can stream it on Shudder. You can rent it on YouTube or Google TV. I honestly might re-rent it myself because I want to keep watching it. Fucking great movie. And that's my Skinamarink review, my very first movie review. I hope y'all enjoy it. Leave a like, comment on it, tell me like what you loved about it, what your favorite scenes and moments were, any quotes that you loved. Share this shit, subscribe, put on notifications, you know the deal. And until then, I'm Rezin, over and out. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here.